So let me go ahead and start. My name is Ryan Brown. I'm with Xbyte Technologies, and welcome to our complete hyperconverged solution for SMBs and ROBOs webinar. Today, I'm joined by Max from StarWind and Alex from Five9 to talk about the virtualization dilemma faced by most SMBs and ROBOs. So let me get into what is the problem. So for virtualization, it's been around for years. We're all familiar with it. It's something that most companies realize should be done. But for many small SMBs and ROBOs, the adoption has been a bit slower than enterprises and larger SMBs. With some reports claiming 60% or more of businesses are still using Windows Server 2003, this should be the prime time for making the move to a supported Windows Server OS and moving to a virtualized environment. But why is this not happening? Really, it's three reasons. First off, limited IT staff. For SMBs, the IT person could easily just be the person who knows the most about computers, no formal training or experience. For ROBOs, that centralized IT makes it difficult to work with each branch, and even more difficult as those branches increase. For these groups, limited budget. I mean, of course, everyone has a limited budget, but it's even more true when an SMB is spending their own money or a remote office or branch office has to duplicate those expenses at every single location. And it's not just the cost of implementing the initial solution, but there's ongoing maintenance costs or your payment to someone to use their cloud, and all those costs start to add up. And of course, the third reason is just limited time. These groups are, the IT staff are focused on help desk support and keeping people working, not implementing a complex virtualization project and then dealing with multiple vendors for ongoing support. When something goes wrong, they don't want to have to play the he said, she said game with 4 to 5 different companies. These groups need something that is really as close to plug and play as possible. Most pre-configured solutions currently on the market, they're targeted towards your larger enterprises. There's insane over-provisioning, poor scalability that really can be absorbed by the larger enterprises. Now, some budget-friendly solutions, they're out there, and they are budget-friendly, but they're based on virtually unknown hypervisors. They have a very immature ecosystem, and that's really something spells disaster for any of these companies that have limited time for experimentation with solutions. So what is the solution? Our solution is the first hyperconverged platform that uses best-of-breed solutions for the SMB and remote office branch office space. So we've combined Microsoft's Hyper-V with Virtual SAN from StarWind, Hyper-V security and management from Five9, virtual backups from Veeam, all that into a Dell server from Xbyte Technologies. Now, before Xbyte ships the server, we work with StarWind to test, install the complete solution, and pre-configure it to work in the customer's network. Companies can literally take the server out of the box, they can plug it into their network, and instantly be up and running. Working with all our vendors, it's made very easy because this solution is supported by a single vendor, StarWind. So anytime there's anything that goes wrong with a solution, you call up StarWind and they'll be there to address that for you. Today, you'll hear from several partners, including Xbyte, also StarWind and Five9, on how we can contribute to this unique solution. So for those who don't know who Xbyte is, in the IT community, we really are the #1 recommended site for Dell servers and parts. We've been ISO certified. We really focus on quality, and we've been helping the SMB and Robo companies for the past 13 years. And we're actually recently named as one of only 2 companies in the entire world that can change the configuration. We can change the configuration on a refurbished Dell server and have Dell warranty that configuration starting from the date that we sell the server. So that allows Dell to support any of these appliances that we're selling. And really, our success has been because of our relentless dedication to helping customers. Very loose return policies, really all about the customers. I honestly can't remember the last time we had a rating that wasn't a 5 out there in the world. So really high focus on quality. Now, I know I may have lost some of you when I mentioned the word refurbished servers. Now, in the consumer electronics space, you may be thinking, okay, Refurbished means something like an iPhone that was previously broken, and now the manufacturer, somebody's fixed it. And that's really true in, let's say, phones or TVs. But in the enterprise IT space, that can't be further from the truth. So what happens is Dell, they will take a server, and if a customer orders it and they cancel it, they don't just stop the manufacturing process and put it back into stock. If any of you have seen the footage, it's really a machine what Dell goes through to build one of their servers. They'll continue with that order and it'll be placed into a hold where companies like Xbyte will buy those in large lots. So that's canceled orders, and those come to Xbyte, and we put those out in the market. We also have last generation of servers that Dell no longer needs. Dell recently went through a transition where they took their 13th generation servers, and if they're new stuff that's all on all their websites, and their 12th generation they don't want to sell anymore. So big lots come to companies like Xbyte, and again, all of these have really never been put into production. They can't be called new because they directly come from Dell. We also have opportunities from OEM partners, and these are companies that do custom solutions for Dell. They may buy servers on spec for their customers. When, let's say, the 13th generation coming out and the 12th generation is not going to be there anymore, they may buy large 12th generation lots. Again, Xbyte comes in and buy those if their customers can't come through with their orders, and we have them available for you. So again, all of these are solutions that have never been put into production, but they're just not considered new anymore. It's actually a very cost-effective solution. So we really help companies maximize your IT, as the little logo says there, at a minimum cost, all while at the same time reducing your risk. So we don't want you to take on a bunch of risk because you're doing the refurbished space, and we know that space can be scary at some point. Now, we know IT budgets are not just about hardware. We kind of talked about that early on. You have hardware, you have software, you have virtualization, you have your OS, you have your setup costs, your downtime. So let's spend a few minutes talking about how our solution helps to control all these costs. We start with the initial node. So this is an initial node that is from our new hyperconverged platform. And it's a very basic node. It can work with a lot of companies. And again, this is that plug-and-play node that you can just plug in your solution or your network, and it just works, as we talked about, because of the work we do setting everything up initially. So if you take, let's say, that processor, and it is 4-core, and you want to turn it into 6-core, a lot of other solutions out there you'll have to go into and go ahead and completely replace or add new nodes to the environment. In our solution, it's as easy as just getting in there and upgrading that. So you can now turn that 4-core into a 6-core processor. You use exactly the same setup. All you're doing is replacing the processors. If you're looking at capacity and to be able to upgrade into storage, it's just also that easy. So you can take, let's say, the memory at 64 gigs, 4 by 1 terabyte, and you can easily upgrade that 128 gigs of memory, or 8 by 1 terabyte nearline fast drives, or even larger capacity drives. So you really get into an ability to really scale up the solution. So while we do give you the initial nodes that are plug and play, we don't restrict you to only being able to buy nodes from us. You can really use any parts, upgrade them as your company needs to scale out. So we talked about in the solution, you're able to take your 2 initial nodes, and this is a key differentiator in our solution. Other solutions out there will have you start at 3 nodes, but we're able to achieve high availability and redundancy in only 2 nodes, and that, again, helps you maximize an IT at the minimum cost. And as your company expands, you can, of course, scale out to a 3rd node. You can scale out to a 4th node, to really any number of nodes that you need. As we talked about, your scaling up ability. So you can go ahead and take 2 of your servers, and let's say capacities change, and you want to turn 2 of those into just the capacity, into the storage piece of the solution. You can do that while spreading out your compute across 4 nodes. So it's as flexible as you want to make it, or as plug and play as you want to make it. And of course, you can keep scaling up. You could add direct attached storage to your other nodes. You could go ahead and upgrade all the servers with all the components. So it really gives you that flexibility to either start small or to start small and to expand to really anything that you can dream up for this type of a solution. So let me go ahead and pass it off to Max here from StarWind, and he's going to go into the architecture that helps make all of this possible.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much for your presentation. Definitely, the solution we've built together is really scalable. And as you've seen, it can scale up, it can scale out, and you can add components on the fly. So you're not stuck with a just put in another node model a lot of hyper-converged vendors are offering. And let's talk more about what actually makes it possible for us to be so flexible in how we scale and how we treat our solution. And obviously that's the software part which ties it all together. And StarWind contributed to the software part. The idea is that we have all our nodes, and as you can see there is no SAN in the diagram. And technically there is no SAN, and at the same time all nodes are the SAN at the same time. We use local storage of each node and mirror it between the hosts to achieve high availability for our applications, our virtual machines running on this platform, and then present this highly available storage resource back to the platform, and it utilizes it as the cluster resource to store your applications and virtual machines. This way we can have up to 66% of our servers in the scale-out architecture fail and still maintain operations. So this is something unprecedented for the hyper-converged architectures, because usually if you lose 2 to 3 servers even in a 64-node cluster, there is no way for the data to become available. Of course, with StarWind there can be multiple options, and worst case scenario is 1/3 of the servers, but 1/3 of the cluster, whatever it may be, let's say even 256 nodes, is much better than just 2 servers in that size. So StarWind is not only mirroring the storage between the servers, it also mirrors RAM and flash. This way we maintain full high availability and also maintain high performance. And you may be wondering why there is no SAN in this configuration. Why is everyone going hyper-converged on the market? So where is the old days where we had the fiber channel SANs and everything was so centralized? And here's the reason why. The sequence you see on the lower part of the slide shows the path of I/O from your application, be it virtualized or non-virtualized, to the actual disk on the SAN. And you see the initiator and network basically bottlenecking your application from accessing the fast cache. So we converge everything into a single box, and right now we simply bypass that bottleneck. So we talk directly to the server's RAM, what can be faster. So this is an unbeatable solution, and combined with high availability, it provides excellent performance for any type of applications. And on top of that, there is one more problem with virtualization which needs to be solved in order to beat the performance issues. As you scale, you have multiple virtual machines running to your storage at the same time, writing there. They may be doing sequential writes, but when you have 100 virtual machines doing sequential writes all the time, at the end of the day, it will be random I/O. And in virtualization, that is called I/O blender. And random I/O kills the performance of any spinning disk. So the easiest solution would be going all flash, but going all flash will simply kill the budget, especially if we are thinking about ROBOs and SMBs. And then there is operating expenses, because if SSD fails at some point, you need to change it. That doesn't happen so often with spinning components, And what we decided to do, if random I/O and IO Blender kills performance, we need to kill IO Blender. So what we do is use log structured file system from StarWind to turn all these small random writes, coalesce them into one big sequential write, and then get it to the disk. At the same time, we have a log of our operations running in server's RAM and also being mirrored with the remaining servers in the cluster, so that even if server fails, other servers know how data was written to that disk to read it and to continue serving storage to your applications, virtual machines, and introduce zero downtime to the configuration. Now, as this can work without deduplication, we can also increase our effectiveness by using inline deduplication. So you're not tied to just standard Microsoft offline deduplication. You can do it inline and make sure you're writing much less to your disks. And of course, don't forget about disaster recovery. What is it a solution if it doesn't include disaster recovery and business continuity plan at the same time? It's a really bad idea not to think about backups, not to think about replicating somewhere else in case tornado comes in or it's unstable country you're working in. There may be multiple reasons to do that, and you may think, okay, everything will be fine. I have my external 1 terabyte drive to back up the most precious data, but once you see your entire data center or your entire location gone, it's not that easy task to restore everything. So it's good to have backup, it's good to replicate data somewhere, and StarWind does provide that ability as well. So the Converged platform fulfills your DR plan by replicating either to remote data center, it can be any data center in the world as long as you have bandwidth between the sites, something like 2 megs. So it should be enough with 21st century fiber internet tied around the globe. And we can also replicate to Azure. So StarWind is already certified on Azure, and this allows us to get the entire hyper-converged platform and make sure if something happens to you, to make sure you're covered with protection. You simply go to your Azure instance and recover all your data from there. And with that, I told you about how we manage the storage, but I'm not sure you'll be seeing that much of storage in the hyper-converged platform because it comes pre-configured and you don't really need to do much of storage configuration. But what you'll need to do is manage your configuration, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible. And with that, I'd like to pass to Alex, and Alex will tell you more about how you can manage the hyper-converged platform easier.
Thank you, Max. Indeed. So with Five9 as a part of a solution, we help to manage all of your virtual machines, actually all of your business units that you have on the system with convenient Five9 Manager interface. So Five9 Manager is a part of our hyper-converged solution. Will allow you to get graphical user interface that is very straightforward, very simple, and is still very powerful. It allows you to manage all your virtual machines, takes care of monitoring and optimization process, and of course, it allows you to manage your clusters. Therefore, within our solution, within our high available solution, a hyper-converged solution, you'll be able to perform all the operations that you need and still keep everything up and running with monitoring capabilities. So first thing that you're going to see with Five9 Manager is going to be summary information. And the reason we actually put that as a top priority and whenever you launch up application is the reason that you have to have overall system health overview whenever you start managing that. So first thing in the morning is going to be checking out the entire complete performance and system health in a couple seconds. So when you launch Five9 Manager, you're actually able to see virtual machines, clusters, and hosts health along with alarms and alerts that may be potentially worth your attention. So in case there is any issue, obviously any of these pie charts may go red, and you'll know that this is exactly the point where you have to perform a check and make sure that the issue is resolved. So if everything is green, all is good, that means that your system is up and running in the optimal state and you don't need to adjust it in any way. So it just keeps working, and that's it. So you can continue working with creating new virtual machines, actually solving your new tasks. And one of the tasks that is very popular, right? So you need to take care of your new virtual machines, and you need to perform some tasks. You need to roll out new services within the system, and usually you tend to use the same operating systems for those, right? So you don't really have that wide range of operating systems to be used. Therefore, it's much easier to actually use a resource library to keep your templates in and make sure that you can save hours of your time on creating new virtual machines. This approach actually is very time-saving and also allows you to avoid mistakes and misconfiguration mistakes whenever you do that manually. So resource library is something that is going to tremendously save your time on creating new virtual machines, expanding your environment, expanding your business, and this is very, very straightforward and very easy with Finance Manager and Resource Library. Next thing that you're going to care about is virtual machine resources. Obviously, all your virtual machines are going to have their own resources consumption rate, and it's better to be aware about any of those. So CPU usage, memory demand, memory status, uptime of virtual machines is something that you would need to have information in real time in case you need that. So with Finance Manager, as a part of a solution, you'll have a single real-time table that is going to show you everything you need to know, and this table is customizable, and you'll be able to actually adjust any column that you need and rearrange them and add some extra fields like IPv6 address or fully qualified domain name or status. So all of these parameters can be viewed in real time, and it's very easy to actually get a check on those. If you use Hyper-V replication and you have your disaster recovery site in place, Finance Manager will also allow you to actually monitor replication health and notify you in case anything goes wrong with that. Along with the table, you'll also get graphs for your resources consumption. So these graphs are available for both your Hyper-V hosts and virtual machines, and also allow you to see top resources users for any of your Hyper-V hosts. History data will help you understand the history of resources consumption, and alerts that actually are migrating from a summary information tab in here will give you a quick overview of any potential reason that be causing this issue. So resources monitoring is an essential part of managing the infrastructure, and Finance Manager, the part of solution, is going to provide you with that. As you do resource monitoring, sometimes you may face the case when you need to actually move some of your loads from one host to another to ensure the optimal performance of your entire system. So with Finance Manager and dynamic optimization, you'll be able to actually sit and relax because it is going to do the job for you. So it's going to actually monitor the performance of each of your Hyper-V hosts, and in case any of the thresholds that you can specify is met for a certain period of time, it can trigger the automatic dynamic optimization process. Therefore, you can ensure that your entire system performance is optimal and you don't really have to perform any manual operations to achieve that. So that greatly reduces the time required for entire system management and helps you to make sure that all resources that you have are used in the best manner. These dynamic optimization rules can be actually very important as well. As you can see on a screenshot, you can also make sure that virtual machines that have to reside on different hosts are going to be there, and if virtual machines have to migrate with the each other, so affinity, anti-affinity rules, you can actually configure that as well. So we'll do the optimization for you. You can create rules that are going to affect those. As you have your system up and running, virtual machines ready, performance monitored and optimized, you may also need to get higher security level for your system. And Finance Manager can help you do that with agentless antivirus that can be added to the product. Agentless antivirus was designed, architected, and built from the very ground, from the very beginning for Hyper-V. And you note that sometimes Microsoft may say, okay, it's not recommended to run antivirus on a system. This is not the case. So Finance Manager Antivirus was designed and built specifically for Hyper-V. It's absolutely hypervisor-aware, friendly, and certified by Microsoft. This is the antivirus that allows you to get direct access to VG and VHTX files and therefore perform scans in agentless manner. That means you don't really have to install anything inside virtual machines to perform full system antivirus scans, and allows you to scan virtual machines even in off state. That takes the load off your virtual machines and allows you to save tremendous amount of time and virtual machine resources and disk IOPS. StarWind is going to provide you with a very effective storage, but still reducing the load on your storage is going to be a help here. The average full system antivirus scan performed with agentless antivirus based on incremental scan technology is around 2 to 7 minutes. And if you calculate that compared to legacy antivirus solutions, that's up to 70 times faster than what it takes when you use a legacy antivirus to scan your system. And let me show you what it looks like when you scan system with incremental scan and with legacy full system antivirus scan. Whenever you scan system with full system antivirus scan, you actually scan all the blocks of your system. And whenever you do the first time, the second one, the fourth, the 115th, all of these scans actually have to scan all your files, all of your blocks of a hard drive. With 5.9 incremental antivirus scan, you scan system in full only once, and after that we start collecting change block tracking information about all the changes happening with the virtual hard disk. These changes and monitoring information is very precise and allows you to understand exactly what got changed. Block system can be full, so we're not monitoring files. Once again, we are monitoring blocks that are changing inside a virtual hard disk, and whenever scan starts, it analyzes data that it receives from change block tracking driver and allows you to reduce time required to just a few minutes. Saying that, Finance Manager will allow you to do management and security part of the solution, and is going to work in a hypervisor, Hyper-V optimized way. But Max, it looks to me that sometimes people may have a question. So knowing all the components that you have within the solution, why can't I build my own hyper-converged system?
Technically, Alex, no one prevents you from buying everything separate and then combining it together, installing it, configuring it, and bringing the entire cluster up. But the thing is, there is no way to get the same solution at the same price, because we combined everything the way it's 42% more cost effective, and we came really close. It's 42-point-something% more cost effective, and I just like the number 42. And HCPU from StarWind is just better, that number not counting the added value of support and services included with it, because we've discussed the storage part, the server part, and the management part, but there is also the value add part, because it's not just combining the components together, it's much more than that, because each unit is built to order, so you don't only get the server, you get all components pre-configured, pre-tested, you've got your storage configured and provisioned to the nodes, you've got a domain deployed, you've got your cluster created. So once you have it out of the box, when it arrives at your office, you only need to put it in a rack, put the cables in, and start working. There is no need to configure anything, and there is no need to configure something new, because we do that for you. And there is more, because usually with this type of the solutions, you get multiple, let's say, throats to choke, like customers used to say. If something fails, multiple vendors start finger pointing at each other, saying, okay, no, it's storage, no, it's the hypervisor. We decided to solve that issue once and forever. We took the responsibility, and StarWind is now the single point of contact if anything happens with the configuration. If there is a hardware issue, you contact StarWind. If there is a storage issue, you contact StarWind. If there is a management issue, you also contact StarWind. And we use our resources to help you. We provide all support from one place, and there is never finger pointing with this type of a solution. So this is a really important part which makes our solution more valuable than just components bought separately. And also we thought about ROBOs and SMBs, and there is one more common thing in ROBOs and SMBs which would be really great for them to have, is someone who could help them with this configuration, because as Ryan mentioned, there is no dedicated staff oftentimes for managing this configuration, and there can be one engineer for the entire state operating for robo offices, and there can be CEO of a small company who needs to manage their virtualization solution at the same time. So instead of going into the manuals and learning about how the new solution works, they can use StarWind Services, where we'll plan, configure, and manage the entire environment for you. So you not only get support, you get proactive support. So you technically treat your point of contact as your, let's say, outsource administrator. You just call them and say, okay, I need new storage provisioned. Okay, I need more RAM added to the service. Any requests you may have for your virtual environment, you address there. So this is one more point to buy the solution altogether. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our today's event. I hope it was interesting for you, and we'll now gladly answer all your questions. So Alex already answered your question, and let me open the questions and answers panel to see if we have any other questions appeared from our customers and attendees. Already see.
Max, 1 second, a little bit of housekeeping for everybody. If you remember in the beginning, we talked about accessing the question panel on the GoToWebinar. If it's not already shown to you, click on the little orange arrow pointing to the left. That'll open it up, and there's a question panel. You can go ahead and submit any questions you have. Sorry about that, Max.
No problem. Good call.
So Max, thank you for answering my
Okay.
question. I think we have a question from Paul here. So let me just read it to you. And I would guess this is what he's saying. So have you ever thought of pushing your SAN software into UEFI under hypervisors?
So technically StarWind Virtual SAN in this hyperconverged solution is running in the operating system core. We haven't thought about putting it that low all the way down into UEFI, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen soon. But anyway, thanks for the interesting idea. And here's a question for Ryan. Is the HCPU solution available in Europe?
It is. Yeah, we can. It's while Xbyte itself is located in the U.S., we do ship internationally. So Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, we can really service any of the geographic areas around the world.
Great.
Okay, and Alex, I think there is a question from you. There is Mr. Simon I'm migrating from VMware to Hyper-V, and I'm wondering if there's any migration tools that can help me move people to this solution. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting question. And as far as I can see in our questions boxes, so we need to clarify that here. So guys, we are building this solution on top of Microsoft Hyper-V. So there is no need for any VMware licenses here at all. And to actually help migrate you to our solution within Five9 software, we have a free conversion tool that's called Five9 V2V User Converter. And this tool actually allows you to migrate your workloads from VMware to Hyper-V. There is also a version that has automation built in. That is a paid version, but I can tell you that moving to our hyper-converged solution with Five9 V2V User Converter is going to be super easy task for you. And surely, please feel free to download it and try it out. That's very easy. And with our combined solution, your future experience is going to be even better, I can tell. Okay, so we have another question regarding the recording. Actually, let's probably do this housekeeping as well. So actually, we guys, we were recording this session, and we'll be happy to share that with you after I finish that. So please allow us in a couple of days to do that, but we'll be able to do that pretty quickly.
And Max, is this going to be available on StarWind's YouTube channel? Is that where it's going to be available for everybody, along with
Exactly. We'll have it on StarWind YouTube channel. We also have a link on our website, and I think you'll be able to find it in the follow-up emails we sent after the webinar is posted online and recorded. And there is one more question from Ramdan. How do you compare to Nutanix? I would say the basic comparison to Nutanix would be there is no way you can get a Nutanix system highly available with just 2 servers. So we start with a smaller number of servers. So it's a greener solution. Then Nutanix doesn't really allow you to scale up. It only allows you to add more nodes. So the just throw in another node concept I mentioned earlier. While with this solution, you can scale up, you can scale out, you can add different units when you scale out, and you can modify their configuration before you purchase or after you purchase. So that gives you much more flexibility. Also, Nutanix doesn't use log structuring in their storage code, and StarWind does use log structuring in the hyper-converged platform. And one comparison thing I didn't mention is Nutanix currently supports their own hypervisor, which is, I think, KVM, and vSphere and Hyper-V. The hyper-converged platform unit we just showcased does support Hyper-V for now, and we're working on other versions. Then let's see. Alex, there is a follow-up question to one you answered previously. Is that the converter on Five9 website? Yes.
Yeah, Five9 V2V User Converter can be downloaded from Five9 website. It's five9.com. So 5 is number 9 and INE.com. You can see that as the same way as our logo. Yep, it's available for free. Please go and download it right now.
Okay, and one more follow-up. Do your migration services include Exchange migration as well?
That's a great question, actually. So with Five9 V2V User Converter, we actually migrate virtual machines from VMware to Hyper-V. We don't really care about what's installed inside the virtual machine itself. So briefly, we convert virtual machines. We don't really migrate Exchange services in here.
Okay, and one more question, Alex. I guess you'll get a streak here. We got asked if are we going to WPC with this solution? So the Worldwide Partner Conference for Microsoft, I assume.
All right, yeah. So World Partner Conference, that's happening in Orlando in July. Yep, we are going to be there, so please feel free to visit us. And Five9 is going to be there. Definitely, we're going to be just also available for you to talk to us regarding this solution. So please feel free to visit us there, and we are looking forward to seeing you on the partner conference.
Okay, and yeah, one more management question. Okay, will I need to use any, let's see, will I need to use any expensive management tools like System Center to manage this? I guess not, but you can tell more.
Yeah, just we understand that System Center actually does a lot of management for Hyper-V, but also obviously we have focused our solution on SMB, right, and robo scenarios. This way, just System Center is definitely an overkill, and obviously enterprise companies who can afford System Center. Even when they start building their robo scenarios, considering to find something cheaper, something more cost-effective, and definitely as a part of our Converged solution, Finance Manager is several times cheaper than that, and still does all the tasks that you have to perform with with Hyper-V and with your virtual machines. And actually, in certain cases, it does even more, saying that Virtual Machine Manager doesn't do monitoring for you, for example, right? So Finance Manager does that and sends you notifications, and that truly makes your entire management experience easier. Learning curve shorter. Or actually, you don't really need learning curve anymore because it's very intuitive. So to say there is no need for anything like System Center in our solution. So it's all covered with Finance Manager.
Hey, Matt,
Okay.
I was reading through, and I see a couple questions for the StarWind side. Someone's asking about how does this solution compare to something like VMware's vSAN? And then a follow-up to that is just asking about your comments about StarWind in a VDI solution environment.
Okay, yeah, gladly answer that one. So if we compare StarWind to HCPU to VMware's vSAN solution, first of all, the amount of hardware available is still limited, and then the hardware configuration with VMware's vSAN is also quite limited. One more thing is that VMware vSAN requires 3 hosts to start with, and they actually recommend 4, while the hyper-converged platform unit from StarWind requires just 2 hosts. So it's a better solution for small offices. It's a better solution for ROBOs because essentially it allows you to get 33% less equipment, and that can make the total bill for your ROBO hardware refresh 33% less, and that may be a huge number. Then, think about VMware vSAN. You require VMware vSAN license on all the hosts, and you require storage to be shared between all the VMware hosts. With the hyperconverged platform from StarWind, you can have asymmetric configuration where some of the nodes have storage and some of the nodes are added just for compute. So you don't need to license and keep the hosts similar like it is the case with VMware Virtual SAN. And as for VDI, we do have multiple options, multiple configurations of our hardware available on our website. And you have the link down below. So it's find out more at starwindsoftware.com, StarWind Hyperconverged Platform. There is a data sheet which showcases the configurations we have, and it includes minimum configuration, which is 2 tower servers. So for those who don't even have a rack system, there are 2 T320 tower servers as a minimum hyperconverged solution, and the maximum solution is 2 R720 servers packed with SAS and SSDs, and these will be the solution I would use for VDI. So combined with log structuring, inline deduplication, you can get huge performance for your both persistent and non-persistent virtual desktops.
Great. Thank you, Max. Here.
Max. All right. How much time do we have, guys, left on the webinar? I know we want to keep it as brief as possible for people. Just one or two more questions?
Yeah, I think one more question, and we'll then follow up with everyone. If we didn't answer your question, we'll definitely follow up with the answers once we finish the webinar. So stay tuned. And Ryan, would you read the last question for us?
Let's see. Let me get a good one for the group here. There's a question, and this is a good one for anyone wanting more information. Is there a single point of contact available for all sales regions? So for people looking for both U.S. And something like Denmark or Sweden, is there a single point of contact or multiple people you have to go to?
Indeed. The single point of contact is sales@starwind.com. So this is the email you can use. You've got the email mentioned on the screen. We will also follow up with the presentation as well as the webinar recording. So you'll be able to get in touch with our sales and check your options with the Hyper-Converged platform.
Now, in reading the questions, there are definitely some more in-depth questions out there. I will tell you that we will be getting back to anyone who posts those questions, getting some more information about your environments and helping get those questions answered for you. So from all of us, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. Hope you, as Max has said, hope you guys gain some information about the solution, and look forward to talking to you guys along with the partners in crime here, Alex and Max, about how we can solve your problems with our unique hyper-converged solution. So thank you all very much, and have a good day.
Thank you. Goodbye.